She may have saw my message.
Okay.
Okay, we're recording. Okay, so Sydney is, for those of you that are watching the recording, Sydney is having to talk to somebody. So I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects. I know many of you have come to me with questions on personalities, so I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys today about my favorite subject and how that it's really helped me in my business with helping my coaches hit Success Club, how I have used personalities and speaking to those specific personalities on how to recruit people. So it's really helped me in my business figure out why people do what they do and why they don't do what they do. And so it's really helped me a lot. At the beginning of this year, I was really frustrated and couldn't figure out why my coaches were not hitting Success Club. And I would have coaches sign up one day and quit the next. I would recruit like 20 coaches and they would all quit by the next month. And I couldn't figure out why. And it was because I was not speaking their language. And so I'm a very, there's the 4 different colors, and I'll kind of go over them briefly, but then break it down on how I recruit and how I speak to my coaches on how to get them to hit Success Club. So there's the 4 different colors. If you're not familiar with it, there's all different kinds of personality tests that you can take, but it all breaks down to these 4 different ones. If it's a color code, it's red, yellow, blue, and white. And for some reason, I always call it red, yellow, blue, and pearl. I don't know why. So if you're like, why is she saying pearl instead of white? I don't know why. I just do. And so for some reason. But so each of these colors or gems or whatever you want to call it have a core driving motive. For reds, that's leadership. For yellows, yellows is fun. Pearls or whites is peace. And then blues is relationships, intimacy. So based on that's our core driving motive. So if you want them to work in the business, that's going to push them because that's their language. That's what speaks to them. And so you have to kind of change up the way that you speak, because what you speak is not going to speak to everybody. But as a whole, as a team, I try and do my language as far as how I recognize people. So again, I went from 0 people hitting Success Club at the beginning of the year, and now I think I had 7 this month hit Success Club. And almost all of them brand new coaches. So I've been doing a lot of recognition within my team, and basically all I do is leaderboards. And every time someone hits Success Club, I make a little graphic and I say, congratulations to this person. They hit Success Club, whatever. And that's basically the recognition. I focus on that. I try to do the leaderboards every single week. And that's basically as far as a team-wide, as far as recognition and what I do for Success Club. I used to do a lot of gifts and prizes and stuff like that. But I'm really bad about getting prizes together and shipping them out. That is not my gift, is not sending out gifts. So I stopped doing that, and I'm trying to figure out ways that I can motivate and inspire people to hit Success Club without having to send out a bunch of prizes and spending a lot of money on getting those prizes sent out. So speaking to them individually, yes, the leadership boards are great. The recognition, saying, hey, look at this person, that's awesome, they hit Success Club, that's great. But where I really found the strength is speaking to them one-on-one in their language. So I'm going to break it down for you guys. But if you have not taken the color code, you can take it for free to get your main color. But these little cards, I got them on the Color Code website. And it literally breaks down every single color. It breaks down their core driving motive, their natural gifts, their basically their time management tips. So if you're having a coach and they're like, man, I'm struggling with time management, I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong or why I can't freaking get it together. You actually have time management tips on here. For best relationship advice, what to say, what not to say. These cards are gold. I think they're $11 on the color code thing. And like literally every time I do a call or I'm speaking with one of my colors, I mean, you eventually memorize them. But every time I do, they come in this little sleeve, and I'll just get my little cards out. I always keep it on my desk, and I'll sit there, and before I have a phone call with one of my coaches, a one-on-one or whatever, I'll kind of go over and make sure like, okay, this is when I'm going to speak to her, so I'm speaking her language. I'm very much a red, yellow personality, and so I'm just kind of like, what? And I just word vomit all over the place and scare people off, especially pearls. I scare pearls to death, and then they quit. So I have to like restrain myself and not say everything I want to say because I scare people. So I have to be really careful. So especially in blues and whites, because that's not my language, I have to really like study and be like, okay, this is what I want to say to them. So these cards are gold. If you guys don't have them, get them. They're amazing. The whole color code thing's amazing too. So I'm going to break it down. What I speak to specific colors and what I do to keep my girls organized is I had them take a color code test, not color code. I had them take the disc assessment test, which basically lines up with the color code. So I had them take that, and I had them take a little screenshot of like what their little graph was. So it tells me like if they're red, yellow, blue, white, or the disc. And so I saved that and I put it in Asana. And so I put their two main colors. So anytime like I'm talking to them, I know their colors and I know how to speak to them. Everybody has a main one, like there's number one personality, and then they have a secondary usually. Very rarely does a person have all of one color and they don't have anything else. And very rarely do you have colors that have like all four colors evenly. I mean, there are out there, but for the majority, you have like a primary and a secondary. So this is how I speak to my reds. I always, whenever I'm trying to get them to hit Success Club, like I tell them the importance of hitting Success Club. And for reds, they love leadership. They love a challenge. They love competition, and they love prizes. And it's not even about the prize. It's about the competition to get the prize. They don't even care what the prize is. They just want the challenge to get there. And they love leadership. So when I'm trying to tell them to hit Success Club and what the importance of Success Club is, they're not going to really care so much like about the prize. They're going to care about the leadership aspect of hitting Success Club. So I'll say, hey, like if you're hitting Success Club continually, you're going to be put in that leadership role where you're going to have more people to lead. And it's like that speaks to their language. So, and then reds also love facts and figures, and when you're talking especially income. So being specific on how much money they're going to make on if they hit Success Club every month. So like for every challenge pack they sell, this is how much they're going to make. So being very specific when it comes to facts and figures, that speaks their language. So you could add up and say, this is how much you're going to make if you sell 3 challenge packs or hit Success Club or whatever. So that helps them. For yellows, they love public recognition. So the more you can publicly recognize them. So leadership boards, they love it. They want to be at the top of that leadership board. Meg's all about that because she loves being at the top. She loves that public recognition. And I do too. That's how I am. So the more like I could care less if my coach came to me and they're like, oh, you're doing an awesome job. I'm like, I want to be recognized publicly, people. Like, that's all I care about. So that speaks my language. And yellows love fun. So the more fun. So when you're talking Success Club specifically, when you're talking to them, be like, hey, like if you hit Success Club, you're going to be able to get trip dollars. You're going to be able to earn fun prizes. You're going to be able to be recognized more if you continually hit Success Club. So that's their language. Speaking specifically to blues, they love personal relationship. They love that intimacy. And so when you congratulate them, yes, congratulate them publicly when you do your leaderboards, but they love it when you're intimately recognizing them one-on-one. So make sure that if you have a blue, like that's their main personality, that you're going to them one-on-one and just be like, hey, I'm so proud of you. You did such a great job this month. I am so excited. Like that is like their love language. They love being talked to one-on-one. They love that relationship aspect. But here's the thing with blues, they don't get motivated by prizes for the most part. They're just kind of like, whatever, like if I win, I win. If I don't. I remember my first blue that told me that, I'm like, what? You don't get motivated by prizes? This is so weird. Like, who doesn't get motivated by prizes? Because like, I'm like so motivated by prizes. She's like, yeah. She's like, I don't really care. I'm like, okay. Like, and that's when I kind of started figuring out this whole colors thing and how it worked. And so they don't really care about prizes, so that's not going to motivate them. So make sure that you're having that intimate relationship with them. Okay, so when you're speaking to a blue and you're like, okay, this is why you want to hit Success Club, you want to say when you hit Success Club continually, you're bringing in more people to your team because they love to be a part of a team. They love to be a part of relationship-oriented things. You're bringing in more people to your team, so you're going to have more relationships. So when you're talking specifically Success Club, that's why you want to talk to them about. For a pearl or white personality, they don't like to be publicly recognized like the yellows and the reds. Now you may have like half yellow, half white. They love to be publicly recognized, but whites are the same as blues. They like to be personally recognized. Like they want that intimacy. And even like they kind of get embarrassed by recognition. They're kind of like, oh, don't like put me in the spotlight. Like that's just, pearls don't like that public, but they like to be recognized in a personal way. So if that makes sense. Pearls, when you're speaking to them, talking about Success Club, and pearls are the hardest, but that doesn't mean that they can't be great coaches. When I'm speaking to, I have pearls on my team. I have a pearl that just hit diamond. She's half yellow, half pearl. But when you're speaking to them, talk about cause. They want to be a part of a bigger picture. They want to talk about helping people. That's what like drives them. They don't care about money. I mean, yes, they want their bills paid, and they don't care about the prizes. They don't care about any of that. They want to feel like they matter in helping others change their lives. So when you're talking specifically Success Club and say, this is why you want to hit Success Club, you get to change. When you hit Success Club, you're changing more lives. So when you talk to pearls, you want to talk about changing lives and for a cause and helping people. That's their language. So, and don't ever force a pearl. Let them have their space. They have to have space. I was just reading this earlier. So this is like when you're talking to pearls, when you're talking to reds, they want the best available. They want to have all the facts. Blues need to be able to trust the presenter and product with an unconditional guarantee. Whites doubt their decision, but don't want too many options or be pressured. So don't pressure pearls. They will work, and they're great workers, but not under pressure. And then yellows want low maintenance, easy instructions, and implementation of a product. I just saw that. Okay. So, and then too, as far as like communication, like I remember like, because I was recruiting a lot of pearls, I'm like, why do these people not want to talk to me? And it's not that they don't want to talk, but they're just very quick responses, and they're just or delayed responses, but like short answers. And I'm like, okay, like first I thought they all hated me, but it wasn't that. It's just like they're just very to the point, and that's it. And whereas you're like blues are very like everywhere. Like they have a lot of information. They want all the information. And then the yellows are just having a good time. They want to just talk, and they'll talk a lot. So, again, these cards are amazing, and they're very, very helpful. So do you guys have any questions? I am going to talk about how to recruit for specifically gems.
Not a question, but one smart thing. So like I'm like primarily white with definitely some yellow. But one thing that my coach did that really motivated me at the beginning was, one, she did not pressure me to hit Success Club, which was huge for me because even like the elite is making me nervous because I feel the pressure already with that coming up at the end of the year. But personal notes were huge to me, and they were very thought out. They were very like, you have changed these many lives. Like, these women now are going to be able to do this because of you. And she was really good into tapping into that, pearl white part of me for sure in those notes. So every time I hit Success Club, every time I for the first couple months, any new person I would sell a challenge pack to, she would send me a personal note in the mail. And it was huge. It was huge to me. So
yeah. And if it helps you, reds and yellows like to be recognized publicly, and then blues and whites like to be recognized personal or privately, or like through notes and stuff like that. That has really helped me kind of understand. That's their love language. That's how they speak, and on a personal level versus publicly. So yes. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys on how I recruit based on personality. This has been a huge game changer for me as far as like talking to people and just really zoning in on what would excite them about this business. And Sydney, how long do I have to talk? I don't remember. 30, is it 30 minutes?
You have like another, you can go. Can you even hear me? My internet sucks so bad. Okay, sorry. So yeah, you have like 30 minutes, 30, 45, so you're good.
Okay. So, this is what I do when I'm trying to recruit coaches, and it has been so awesome for me. Whether me be reaching out to people or when people come to me, this is what I do. So step one, if someone comes to me and they're like, we're just like chatting up a conversation, or I go to somebody else, I will just say, hey, have you ever thought about doing what I do? That's all I say. And they're like, what? And they're like, what? Well, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a coach. Like, it's awesome. It's an amazing job or whatever. And usually they're like, no, but I want to know more. And so I'll be like, okay, great. So then I send them and say, first off, tell me of these 4 gyms. So I'll send them the little gym picture. Y'all have seen it. It has all 4 gyms. So I'll send them the little gym picture and I say, tell me what your number 1 personality or gym is out of all 4 of these. And they'll be like, Ruby. And I'll be like, awesome. Okay, now tell me your secondary. I never say, hey, tell me your first and second, because that confuses people and then they overanalyze and it doesn't work. So I ask them their first and then I ask them their second after they give me their first answer. So then that tells me, okay, this is how I can talk to that person and how I can recruit them. So based on that, I speak to their language. I speak what would bring them into this business and why they would be a good coach, what would be good for them in this business, why they would love it. So I will just kind of break down what I usually say to these people, or usually say based on their personality. I do, number 1, you always want to encourage them, compliment them. People love that. And when you're doing that to somebody, 1, that shows them that you care about them. 2, that like, I don't know if you guys ever go into like a store, like the Buckle. People or businesses that work solely on commission, they always compliment you. They always are like, oh, I love your hair. Oh, I love your jeans are so cute, whatever. So try and find something that you can compliment them based on why they would make a great coach. Be like, hey, wow, you have a pop in social media. Like, I love, like, your pictures are so bright, whatever. So I'll compliment them on that. Or be like, man, you are like super cute. You look super fun. I think you'd make a great coach. I always try to find something that I can compliment them on. And then I lead into why they would make a great coach. Okay, so a red, if I get someone that's primarily red, I'm not going to go into like the secondary. So usually I talk to them based on both red or based on both their personalities, but I'm going to break it down by personalities. So usually I mix them together. So if I have a red come to me and they're like, I'm like, hey man, you would make a great coach because you would make a great leader. And we produce leaders in this company and we lead our teams. And I just talk to them about the leadership aspect because Reds just eat that up. They love leadership. They love being put in a leadership position. So I speak to that to them, and then I just tell them why they would make a great or why they would make a great coach, and that would be because they're natural born leaders. They naturally have the ability to lead, and they're more like action oriented. Reds are just very good about just taking that initiative and just running. And I'll tell them that. I'm like, you have great initiative. Reds, that's just one of their natural gifts. They take that initiative. So I point out all of their strength, or I try to point out some of their strengths. Again, these cards are great. Reds are confident, focused, responsible, determined, motivated, action-oriented, assertive, and decisive. So I'll kind of hit on a few of their strengths. And then I really bring out what in this company would speak to them. And to Reds, it's facts and figures. So when you can speak specifics on income, like they like just like the meat of what we do. And like, so I try to be as specific and as short answered as possible, but be specific in what would draw them. So they're very driven by income. So I try to be specific about income and stuff like that. They just want the bottom line. That's just how Reds are. Yellows are very bottom line too. They don't want all the details. They want the bottom line. Okay, so then a yellow, their strength is influence and being persuasive. So I'll speak that to them. I'll be like, well, you would make a great coach because you're a natural influencer. You naturally are persuasive, and you'd be great at being a coach because people are just going to be more drawn to you. And you have the power of influence. And so when I speak that to them, like I encourage them by that. And then I'll say, so then I'll focus on the business side of it, why Beachbody would be great for them. So I focus on the fun aspect because yellows love fun. So I'll focus on the trips. I'll be like, man, we get to take these trips. You get recognized for what you do. I know in most jobs, like you don't even get recognized for your work. This job, like the more you work, the more you get recognized for that. And just talking about how they can be a positive influence. Because when yellows hear that word, then you have the blues and the whites, and they want all the details before they make their decision. Whereas Reds and yellows, they are quicker to make a decision versus the blues and pearls, which that's okay. They just want more details. So just remember that when you're speaking to those people, you need to give them a lot of details, and they're going to ask a lot more questions, and that's okay. So a blue, their strength is relationships, and they're loyal. They're loyal to you. They're loyal to their company, their business, and whatever they do. They're great with organization. They're great with relationships. So I point that out to them and say, hey, you would make a great coach because you're organized, you're great with relationships. And when you're speaking that impact, when you're telling them what they already know about themselves, it's like, hey, yeah, like I'd be a good coach. Okay. And so I always try to focus out on their strengths. And then I try to focus on a team. Like we are a team. We have relationships because that's their love language. They love relationships. So I just talk about as much as the team as possible and how we have relationships. And in this business, we make friends, lifelong friendships, and stuff like that. So that's their focus point. And then whites, their strengths are they're balanced, they're great workers, they're good listeners. So I point that out to them. And their why is, and my focus on speaking to them is they can help a lot of people in this business. And change a lot of people's lives. So I always focus on that whenever I'm speaking to pearls. So those are the four. And then I try to cross over whenever I have when they have say they're a blue, white, or yellow, blue, whatever. I try and speak to their core strength and then their focus of whatever that is. That's pretty much all I have. Questions?
Can you I know pearl is white. Can you go over the other gems just so I make sure I have them written down right? Like what the white verse or what the color is to the gem? Does that make sense?
So Okay, so pearl is white when you're talking color code. And then yellow is sapphire. And then blue is emerald. And then red is ruby.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question, and you might have already said this. Sorry, I was gone for the first half. But when you say that you're recruiting these coaches and you're talking to them kind of in their personality, what do you usually post about? Like, so I guess who are you posting to the most? Do you post to all of them? Are you doing your post directly to like towards a yellow, like you, a yellow red? Like, who do you kind of narrow it down to?
I try and speak the most to my personality because I naturally, and not to say that like my personality is like the best coach, but because I can speak their language better. You know what I mean? Like, so when they're in my tribe, it's easier for me to speak their language. So I want to try and recruit those kind of coaches because it's just easier for me. And it's going to be like, say, maybe someone that has a blue/pearl personality. You're going to want to speak what's true to your personality because you're going to be able to speak their language when they're on your team easier. Not to say that we don't have these cards that can, or this knowledge of personalities that can help you speak to other colors, but you're going to be able to speak better to your own personality. So when I'm posting on social media, I really try to speak to my color is half yellow, half red. So I'm really talking about leadership. I'm talking about fun and travel, and that's my niche and what I try to speak to the most. But it just depends on your personality of what you want to speak to.
Okay, that's awesome. Any other questions? I'm excited to go back and rewatch the beginning of this.
I have a question. So, like, I've been doing the gems because I know me and you have talked about it too before, and I've been really focusing on the gems, and I haven't gotten so much into like the depths of the colors. But how do you do this with like? Because I've been doing it a lot with my newer coaches, and those are the people that are hitting successful. Those are the people that are rank advancing. How do you go back to coaches that have been coaching for so long and kind of rework how you work with them? Because that's where like my struggle is, because I've been recruiting amazing coaches, newer coaches, but it's like the people that have been around, I didn't do this from the start. So I'm struggling with like getting them, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And I've done this too to some of my older coaches. And so just depending on their color, so maybe you just need to sit down and think, okay, like you need to speak to this specific color. Like what would inspire her to get motivated again? So whatever that is, like I just did this the other day with one of my yellow coaches. Yellows are great influencers, but they're not very good at being, they are undisciplined. And I'm the same way. So they tend to like fall off if you're not continually like pumping them up. And so I just went to her and I was like, girl, like you have the natural ability to influence people. And I said, you would make a great coach. Like I was just pouring into her, like why she's a great coach or why she has the potential to be a great coach, and just pouring that into her strengths, whatever that is, for those coaches, older coaches that maybe you didn't do this with before. And she was just like, okay, like by the time we were done with the conversation, she's like, yeah, I know I have the potential. I know I have what it takes to be a great coach. And like, she was really excited. But yeah, just going back and just having those conversations like you would now, just to your older coaches.
Thank you.
This is basically off the gym test, but the color code is more detailed. There's so many, like I said, there's so many personality tests, but they all come back to the core driving motive. So the DISC test is what I actually have my coaches take because it's shorter. I know like was it you that posted Raina Adele's gym test? I'm like, I don't think like any of my coaches would sit down for an hour and take an hour-long test, especially as a brand new coach. They'd be like, whoa, especially like a yellow personality. I'm yellow, and so I'm like, I see that, I'm like, run away. But like, I love personality tests. And the disc test, I think, only takes maybe like, I don't know, it doesn't take very long, but it has all personality tests come down to the four personalities. So it doesn't really matter what personality test they take.
I haven't been sending them that link. I just send them the picture. I have like 2 pictures saved that I've from wherever, and I think Matt Way has one, and I just send them that in their initial email, and just say like, can you tell me your first, you know, your first one? And it's really been. I mean, I'm actually just while you were talking ordered the cards because I think that's gonna be. I was like, I need these.
For $11, these are gold.
I had 5 or I think 6 hit success calls last month, and like way more people were on the board. I mean, they might not have, they had points on the board, which was huge for us. So I think it's definitely like helping to focus on it. It's just I need to immerse myself more in it, because I think if you fully understand, like you said, like if you memorize, you're going to start to memorize it, and then you'll pick up on like what to talk to them about or how to speak. So.
And pretty soon, like the more you do it, the more you'll recognize people. I mean, before people even say really anything, you're already like, oh, they're red, oh, they're yellow, or whatever. You just pick up on it, even in real life. It's crazy. And it's even helped my real life relationships. It's so crazy because you know how to speak their language. Why are you laughing, Meg?
Because your beach body relationships are fake relationships. They're not real life.
They kind of feel fake because it's all
Am I a fake relationship in your life?
No, you're a real one. As long as I can see your face, you're real. I try to talk to people in real life, or talk to people virtually on the FaceTime.
This is hilarious. No, thank you so much. I think it's really, really important because personalities are just everything, or the love language, or whatever test you're in. I think it helps so much with getting your team on board, getting your team successful, getting your team successful.
Like I went from 0 hitting Success Club, and now I had 7 this month.
That's
and
awesome.
Then several on the board. And before it was like, why isn't anybody working?
Yeah.
So I wasn't speaking their language. So it does make a difference.
I love it. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more question. Sorry.
Okay.
As far as getting them to rank advanced, do you like talk to them? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you talk to them in their language when it comes to like growing their own teams. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you can use the same aspects for like a pearl. I mean, you can't be like, oh, you can't ever talk like leadership because that scares them to death. But you can talk to be like, hey, like if you're a diamond, just think of all the people, like it's a spider web effect of how many more people that you're reaching, because you're changing that many more lives. But you can't be like, okay, once you're a diamond, you're a leader, because they'd be like, no, I've never hit diamond. Like, I'm scared. You know what I mean? So you have to speak their language. But whenever you talk to a Ruby, you'd be like, dude, you need to hit diamond, because then you're like, you'll have a team, you can lead, because that just like gets them excited. That's like their fire inside of them. So you just have to, again, speak their language based on the same way for rank and stuff too.
Awesome. Thank you. That was it. I promise. No more questions.
So what are you guys? So I know Kat's yellow, red. Meg, you're white.
With yellow, for sure. It's weird because it doesn't seem to go together, but
you're just breaking of it. Jess,
You're like half yellow, half white.
I'm yellow white too, but I didn't think I was very white. I don't know. Like I don't feel like I'm white, but the test told me I was white.
White and Sydney, you're white yellow, aren't you? Or yellow?
I'm definitely more yellow, but then some white too.
Well,
my main color is yellow.
What?
My main color is yellow.
Yeah, mine too.
And
we just want to have fun all the time.
People with a core driving motive of yellow, like their main color is yellow, they're going to naturally be a bigger influencer on social media. So they're going to have more of that attraction marketing skill. I mean, it can be learned, but it's just going to come more natural to yellows. But yeah.
That's so interesting to me, and it makes total sense. It really does when you break it down. You're like, okay, and I get how you can kind of start looking at someone and be like, oh, this is what this person is. Like you can pick up on it faster.
Definitely. It's very interesting. I love it.
Very cool. Okay, well, God, we appreciate it so much. Thank you. Yeah, let me know if you guys need anything. I do have the elite report, so if you haven't reached out yet, let me know. And you guys are killing it. I'm like super, super proud of like my little team I have with you guys, because we are freaking rocking it right now. Amy Rada on our team, she's number 19 right now. She's, I think, the highest one on our elite page, which is just killing it. So cool to be a part of it and see. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.